Welcome to Joe's Astrology. So I just did the birth charts for Nicola Coughlan and Luke Newton. I think that's his name, Luke Newton. Luke Newton is on the left and Nicola is on the right. And I see a lot of talk about them having good chemistry. So I was like, let's do the synastry. Let's check it out. And the first thing I noticed, they have Venus and Mars conjunct. Is that right? Yeah, within 2 degrees. There's Nicola's Mars at 0 degrees Aries, and there's Luke's Venus at 2 degrees Aries. Now, if you study astrology and you want to kind of verify what the books say, you hear all the time in the books that the synastry books that Mars and Venus, when they're conjunct, when they're in aspect to each other, but specifically conjunct, then you have a really good relationship, or in a sense, you see couples really coming together really well or having good chemistry, all those things. And here it is in real life. We have the Mars and the Venus within 2 degrees. Now let's look at his Mars here is at 9 degrees Cancer, and her Venus is at 1 degrees Sagittarius. So we have a inconjunct there. So we don't have both, but we do have that one there. Let's take a look at some other things. He's got Sun in Aquarius, and she has Sun in Capricorn. So those are adjacent. Not necessarily the best combination, but I would say if you were going to have adjacent suns, that one isn't bad because they're both ruled by Saturn. Both ruled by Saturn. Let's see what else here. The moon. We think his moon is in Cancer. We're not really sure. Her moon's in Taurus. So let's just say it's in late degree Cancer. That's a sextile. So as long as it's in Cancer, that would say that is a really good combination. Moon is exalted in Taurus. It rules in Cancer. That would be a great combination as well for the moon. Unless it's in Leo, then it's a disaster. Square. I don't know if I like that moon is in Leo, because if we look at this moon, if it's in Leo and then it squares that moon and then he's got Mars in Cancer, I think we are going to see, that's where we'll see some trouble. Jupiter. His Jupiter is in Libra. Hers is in Pisces. So that's an inconjunct. I would say the thing is with Jupiter and Libra, because I've seen this in my life. And I had a friend or a roommate who actually had Sun in Aquarius. Actually, he may have been. Oh, actually, this is literally like his exact chart. I think he was born the same year. Yeah, it pretty much is just about the exact chart. He had Sun conjunct Saturn, and the thing about this guy, I always thought with his Jupiter and Libra, he was very people pleasing. I mean, he could talk about anything. He was, he had a girlfriend he met at the time when I was there, and I always thought that he, like, being different from me, he was very people pleasing to her. He didn't want to talk about certain things around her because he didn't want to make her mad, etc. So here's the thing: when you have that Jupiter in Libra, you have a person like that. it's never really, I don't know if you're ever really going to see the true chemistry because of that. And I think that's important to point out. And we can see with all that Sagittarius that she has, she's probably going to want to be right a lot. She's going to want to be in charge with that Capricorn, the Aries, the Pisces. And he is going to, with that Aquarius, and that definitely with that Jupiter and Libra, he's going to let her be in charge. Even the only thing he really, well, there's a couple things, but I think also if you look at that Mars Venus, with her being the Mars person and him being the Venus, the feminine, her being the masculine and him being the feminine, I think he is going to let her be in charge, which really helps. You know, whatever she says goes. You've heard this term before. I mean, you've heard the term or the phrase well, I'm thinking of the mother, like where what mama wants, mama gets. Or, you know, a lot of guys will give to their wife or their girlfriend whatever they want. And, you know, you even hear the phrase in sales, you hear, I have to ask the wife and see what she says. That's what this reminds me of. And I'm actually not a big fan of that personally. I mean, it's so prevalent among society, but within like my own personal life, my own personal opinions, I don't get it. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm single. That's what they would tell me anyway. But there's that for sure. And I was saying with this Aquarius, you know, he's willing to take a back seat. Again, especially if that moon's in Cancer, he's willing to take a back seat in the relationship. But you can check out. There's some more stuff. If you check out the individual charts that I mentioned, kind of you can maybe put this all together for yourself, maybe better than I can. We can look at maybe look at some other things here. We can see this. Let's see her Jupiter in water is trining his Mars in Cancer. So that might be a good, you know, her beliefs, her belief system, the way she looks at life, you know, as far as like philosophy and how she lives her life might be good for him with that Mars in Cancer. See, that's making a trine there. That would help out that Mars that's retrograde in Cancer. You know, really help him put his best foot forward in life. Because with that Mars retrograde, it's a tendency to slow yourself down, like really slow your Mars down. He would be a person who takes his time. That was another thing about this guy. He took his time doing things. Like, and I would try to like, because he was interested in sales and business, and I was trying to kind of show him. I think I was showing him through my own life that you got to just put yourself out there, dive in, and he was more, you know, taking his time, slow, and I think and the same thing in his life, and the same thing with this Luke guy, that his partner would really help him, and specifically with that Jupiter and Pisces trining that, his partner would really, her philosophy in life would really help him with that reticent Mars. And you can see in his chart where he wouldn't be reticent is that Venus in Aries. You know, when it comes to his women, he's not reticent. It's one aspect of his life that he's going to dive right in and just make it work. Jupiter in Libra. Put on whatever mask he has to in order to make it work. They're coming from the same Pluto generation, Pluto and Scorpio. Mercury, again, Mercury in the Saturn ruled sign. He has that Mercury Saturn, but she has that Mercury in Capricorn, Saturn ruled. It's also her Mercury and Saturn are semi-sextile. They're in the same degree, so they have that as well. The North Node is both in fire. You see hers is in Aries, and his is in Sagittarius. Very good as well. There's no conflict. It's not really a matter of being good. There's just no conflict there. It's both in fire. They're both, even though they're different signs, they're headed in the same. I think the word is modality, maybe. And that's I've seen that's beneficial usually. And his Venus is moving towards her North Node. And that's important for chemistry. Having that Venus with the North Node. And then on her South Node, we have his Jupiter. So we have two South Node, North Node. We have two nodal connections with a conjunction. And they're the two most fortunate planets in our sky, Jupiter and Venus. So that is very important. A lot of good stuff here for synastry. I think the most telling is all the Saturnian stuff that's compatible, the Venus-Mars, and the Jupiter-Venus on the nodes. And then the thing that I don't like, although I think it's good, I think it's good because it works. As the reasons I mentioned, the thing I don't like is the Jupiter in Libra. But as I said, it works for other people. It works for them. And that Jupiter, his Jupiter is making a sextile to her Saturn, which is excellent. Excellent for staying power. These guys could do good work together. They both have the same Jupiter-Sun aspect. Hers being a square, his being a trine. So I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed this mini synastry reading for Luke Newton and Nicola Coughlan.